Okay, welcome to episode 6 in the Machine Learning for Marketing series. I'm your host, Vince Jeffs, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia again. And this time we're going to be covering the major players in the machine learning for marketing ecosystem. And just as a reminder, my last episode was on monitoring and measuring machine learning. So check that one out if you haven't seen it. And next up after this will be the ad tech martech convergence topic for, again, machine learning specifically for marketers. So let's get into the marketing ecosystem for machine learning. It's very interesting, and I'm tracking now about 800 companies, believe it or not, in this space with about $14 billion in venture capital funding. And what I'm going to show you today represents about 10% of that. So it's the major players, some of them which are public. So obviously not even the venture capital part doesn't come into play there. So let's start out. We're going to go in this diagram in counterclockwise motion. And so let's start with the paid media and digital marketing recommendation engines. In the tier 2 area, I've got Adobe, Salesforce, ChoiceStream. And Adobe I've got in here because of their acquisition of Neolane, Demdex, TubeMogul, and Efficient Frontier. Now, what remains to be seen is if they put this together into an engine with machine learning in it. They've got some of those capabilities, but we haven't really seen, again, the coherent solution. Same with Salesforce. I've got them in here because of ExactTarget and a recent acquisition of Crux, which was an ad tech firm. But we're going to have to see how well they do in bringing their so-called Einstein recommendations into these platforms. ChoiceStream is an interesting company, smaller, but they actually are trying to do some real-time next best action recommendations with the paid media in combination with partnership with Pegasystems. In the recommendation engines, there's 3 here I'm noting: Rich Relevance, Monetate, and Baynote. And they're all about the same size, and they've been focused on retail and doing product and brand affinity recommendations, so wisdom of the crowd type recommendations. Baynote, interestingly, was recently purchased by Kibo Software, and they're an e-commerce engine. Be interesting to see how this works out because they were previously partnered with SAP Hybris. In the big 4, tier 1 here, I've got Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, obviously purchased by Microsoft, and Google. So these are the so-called walled gardens. Obviously, these huge players, huge resources have already begun to bring machine learning and opened it up, in fact, in many cases to the general public. In the second category, for big data platforms with machine learning, at tier 2, I've got IBM because of their Big Insights product, their Watson capabilities, their Streams capabilities. Again, we'll have to see how this really comes together. IBM does not have the best track record with really good integration with all these acquisitions, but they've got a lot of the piece parts. We've got SAP and HANA. Obviously, you've got a big data platform and some machine learning capabilities here. And then you've got the likes of Spark, DataStax, which is the commercial division of Cassandra, Cloudera, the Hadoop commercial division, MapR, and then a company I've called out, DataRobot, which is really doing some interesting stuff with automated model selection where you can literally just upload your data into the cloud and it'll automatically pick the best machine learning algorithm. Remains to be seen how much marketers use this, but I think it's very interesting and you should take a look at it. In the tier 1, we've got the big platforms of Azure, Microsoft, and Amazon Web Services, and we're already seeing streaming, real-time machine learning capabilities being baked into these platforms. On the open source side, if you want to roll your own, and be careful if you do that because obviously you get lots of flexibility, but you've got to have real experts that know what they're doing with the likes of Python, Torch, Caffe, Theona, H2O.ai, which are all open source coding platforms for machine learning. In the tier 1, you've got Google with their Go platform and TensorFlow, and you've got Microsoft with R, Revolution Analytics. So those are some of the big open source machine learning capabilities. In the 4th category, I'm calling business intelligence with predictive. The tier 2 players here I've got as SAP K, because of mainly their KXEN and business objects combination. I'm not including in this the classics like Micro Focus, Cognos, and Tableau because they really don't have machine learning baked in. I also included a company called Alteryx to keep your eye on, a little bit smaller, but really interesting self-service analytics and some machine learning, again, baked into the business intelligence platform. On tier one here, of course, you've got SaaS, and they've got their Enterprise Miner capability, which has been out for a long time, Enterprise Guide, all their SaaS platform with their business intelligence. And then IBM obviously purchased SPSS, and they've been known to be a business intelligence and analytics player for quite some time. In the B2B category for marketing, account-based marketing, ABM, and lead management, I don't have any tier one players because there's nobody that really is dominant in this space. But in the tier two, we've got some interesting companies in 6 Sense, Mintingo, and Infer, which all are about the same size and do this predictive lead scoring. And then also Radius and Inside Sales, which do some, again, predictive ABM and are a little bit bigger than the first three I mentioned. I have not included, again, companies like HubSpot, Infusionsoft, and Silverpop, which was bought by IBM, because they haven't proven really that they've got any machine learning that's built in. I have included in the tier two also the classic vendors such as Marketo, Pardot, and Eloqua, mainly because Pardot, again, purchased by Salesforce, has the opportunity to bring in some machine learning. We'll see. And Eloqua is purchased by Oracle, again, has some machine learning capability, which we'll talk about in just a second in the next category, but it remains to be seen whether this really comes into this part of the solution. So the last one, RTIM, Real-Time Interaction Management. And what we mean here is this is multi-channel. So unlike the first category we covered, which was digital channel oriented, this is all channels, including point of sale, agent assisted, contact center channels. So this is the difference, is that machine learning is made available to all of these different channels in real time. And in tier two, you've got Infor, which purchased a company called Epiphany, which had some real-time interaction management machine learning. SAS built their own called Interaction Manager. Oracle purchased a company and built a capability they called RTD, Real-Time Decisions. And then Teradata bought a company called Helm and uses it for their real-time interaction management solution. In the tier one, the two big players here really are IBM Unica. IBM purchased Unica, and Unica had a tool called Interact, which has some decent traction in, again, providing machine learning and real-time interaction management to marketers. And then Pega, which bought a company called Chordiant and integrated into their Pega 7 platform and has proven, again, the ability to bring this to some very large enterprises and is doing quite well there. So there you have it. That's the sort of the flyby of the machine learning for marketing landscape. Thanks for joining me. I'm your host again, Vince Jeffs. Join me again for my next episode, Ad Tech and MarTech Convergence for Machine Learning for Marketers. Thanks again. Bye-bye.